Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and today's review on a very sunny spring day over here in the UK. Even better, it's going to be like this tomorrow when I'm out on the golf course, which is amazing. Always find it's a lot easier to play golf when it's nice and sunny like this rather than wet, windy and cold, which it is a lot of time in the UK. In those conditions, it is horrible, but when it's like this, it is beautiful. So I'm very much looking forward to that tomorrow. But back on to the review today, which I'm also really looking forward to doing because this is going to be a fantastic club. Now, this review has been released 12 AM UK time on a Friday, which can mean one thing. It is a brand new club for 2025, club that I really wanted to try, potentially even put in the bag for this year, and it is this. It is a Wilson Dynapwr Carbon driver. So Wilson, this is the second sort of iteration of the Dynapower driver. You had the first versions two years ago, where you had a carbon and you had a standard. I reviewed both those clubs, so do check out that channel for those reviews. Wilson has sort of revamped it and re-released it as they do. You know, they do sort of release their drivers and woods every 2 years, which I quite like. I prefer every 2 years rather than every 1 year. Here's a new driver, here's a new driver, here's a new driver. It makes me think that they're actually putting a little bit more thought into the process rather than just churning them out. Even though technology-wise, they really can't change that much. We've been at the limits for years. But yeah, so second version of the Dynapower. A bit annoying they kept the name the same, to be honest. I would have preferred if it was like Dynapower 2 or maybe changed it completely. It's a little bit confusing when someone goes, oh, I got the Wilson Dynapower. And you're like, oh, well, which one? 2023 one or the 2025 one? You know, I preferred if they did change the name, but hey-ho, that's their decision. And in this Wilson Dynapower, well, this year's versions, you do have a Max, which is Ultimate Forgiveness, which is all titanium, and you do have an LS model as well. So they've actually added another model into this. But this one, the Carbon, is definitely their sort of core model, you know, built for the masses. So yeah, really excited to be reviewing for this for you guys and could potentially be putting this in the bag. You know, huge fan of Wilson, especially the stuff they've been recently producing. They've been doing really, really well with their stuff. I've actually, to be fair as well, got the new Dynapower Max, and then the bag nearly fell over then. Got the new Dynapower Max Fairwaywood, and also have the Carbon Fairwaywood version in my bag, which I'm taking out tomorrow. So do remember to hit the bell icon and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss out on those reviews when they come out over the next couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. I do have a lot of stuff, as you can see, to get through before I get to them. But yeah, they will be coming, so do hit that subscription button so you do not miss out on them. Now on to this review. So as always, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having a closer look at this club, if I can get my words out. As always, come back here, go for all the technology that's in it, then get down to range, throw some figures at you, some very impressive figures, especially the fact that I was actually in another headwind. This lovely weather over here in the UK at the moment, especially where I'm based in Surrey, which is south of London. I've been having a headwind when I've been going down to the range, which has affected the results recently, but even though it did affect this as well, the results are still really, really good. So we'll discuss them down at the range. Then we'll come back here, go through the ACS Golf Scale, go through my overall thoughts about the club, and I'll discuss if I am going to play it this year. It's a very close decision. All right, guys, let's have a closer look at this beauty. So there you go. Great looking club. Absolutely stunning. One of the best looking clubs this year by far, and a really good head cover as well. Wilson really raised their game when it comes down to good looking clubs at the moment. Now let's get into the technology that is in this club. So we've got a PKR360, you can see on the bottom there, which is an AI driven design unique to each model that creates more ball speed across the entire face. We've seen that a lot in all the clubs, especially Callaway over the past couple of years. You've got maximum workability, so you have a swappable front and back weight. So you have a 6 gram weight at the front and a 12 gram weight at the back, which allows for customized launch, spin and forgiveness. So obviously the 12 gram weight at the back will help get that ball up in the air, and obviously having that 12 gram weight at the front will help reduce the spin. You can obviously get customized weights. For example, the one I picked up actually only has a 9 gram weight and a 3 gram weight. So there are options out there to get a different weight system in there if you want to. which again, you know, could help with launch. You know, maybe you don't want the ball to go up so high, so you don't need a maximum like 12 gram weight at the back, but you don't want to be sticking a 3-1 there and moving the 9 to the front. So there are options out there. You know, it's not just standard. You do obviously have to get fitted for it and specified, but there are options out there for you. Moving to the open hosel construction. So improved weight distribution allows for removal of inefficient material and creation of a stronger hosel infrastructure. So a lot of this hosel stuff here, they have removed the weight. You found a lot of clubs doing that year, so they can redistribute it to get the club performing how they want. You have sound optimized, so precision rib placement through the internal body for muted, powerful sound. Again, a lot of clubs are looking at this. A lot of clubs are thinking about the sound of these, a lot of brands, sorry, are thinking about the sound of these clubs now. They're trying to differentiate that, you know, improve the sound of all their clubs, because that's how you feel, you know, if a club sounds awful, are you going to put it in a bag? I know a lot of people who probably wouldn't, to be fair. If they didn't like the sound of a club, they won't use it. Personally, for me, not hugely fussed about it, but I definitely know people out there who would be. Adjustable hosel, so 6-way adjustable hosel to optimize face angle and shot shaping. So this is a 9-degree head. You can loft it up to 11 degrees with adjustability and loft it down to 8 degrees. However, the adjustability is very much like TaylorMade and some other brands. They're not like DS Adapt, so Cobra, not like Titleist, not like Callaway, where you can adjust it, but you can't basically, you know, adjusting it does mean that the club face does close or open. So if you increase the loft by 2 degrees, the club face will close and you could end up pushing the ball more left. If you've got a slice that goes to the right, then that could help. If you basically reduce the loft, so go down to 8 degrees, that will actually lead the club face to be open. So if you're slicing it anyway, you could push it even further right. So do be aware of that, which is quite important. That's why, you know, a lot of these clubs nowadays, you should probably go and get a fitting for it. Moving on, so 58% carbon fibre surface area to improve weight distribution, so they can move the weight around, again, to aid forgiveness, to help with how they want the club to perform. You know, you've got that carbon crown there, and you've got that carbon sole as well. And then you're moving on, you've got a compact 460cc head shape, so compact head design promotes playability while maintaining an appealing look at a dress. It is a very good looking head shape. It really is. And you can tell it's like the core model. You know, if you're looking at some of the other brands, maybe the QI35 to be fair, you know, they're really enlarging that profile. They're still 460cc, but they're enlarging that profile with the idea to push as much weight at the back to help with launch and help with maximum MOI. So it's quite refreshing to get that more traditional sort of smaller shape, I would say. You know, I definitely prefer that type of shape for me when I'm looking down at the club. So specifications, standard model is the Ventus TR Blue shaft, which is great. You can only get this in 9 and a 10.5 degree head. You can't get it in a 12 degree head, so do be aware of that. So there you go. So there's all the technology that's in this club. You know, abundance in there, as you'd expect from a big brand like Wilson. Let's get down to the range and I'll throw some really impressive figures at you and then come back here for the ACS Golf Scale. All right, see you in a bit. So actually, just before I get down to the range, actually, I've been doing a little bit more research about those weights in the club head. And even though Wilson's website say that it's 6 and 12, the standard is actually 3 and 9, which I have in this driver. So apologies about that. I believe you can get a 6 and 12. That is why it's on their website. But the standard, if you go to the store, is going to be 3 and 9, which I have in this club while testing it. All right, now I've just cleared that up. Let's get down to the range and throw some figures at you. So here I am down the range with the Dynapower Carbon driver. So did have a little bit of a headwind in my face when I was testing this club. However, the results were still really, really good. Really happy with it. So on average, I had a carry of 239 yards, total distance of 254 yards, ball speed of 154 miles per hour, launch angle 11, height 78, and a swing speed averaging around 105 miles per hour. So really good figures there. Obviously nowadays I am swinging a little bit faster. Normally, I think last year I was only around 98 miles per hour, so really picking it up. So I'm definitely should be getting more distance. And I would have done if I didn't have that wind in my face. You know, this definitely would have been 160 plus total distance. So really happy with it. Longest on the day was a total carry of 250 yards, total distance 267 yards, ball speed 158 miles per hour, launch angle 15 and height 88. I mean, that Would have been close to 280 without that win. So, you know, really pleased with that. You know, this is exactly where I'd expect this club to be, and it matched my QI35 that's in the bag as well. You know, both core models from, you know, the brand. So really pleased with it. Forgiveness wise, pretty forgiving with that weight at the back, so happy with that. Feel wise, relatively a bit more solid than I'd expect, but still a very good club, and it made me want to hit it more and more and more. Really enjoyed it, and it is a really nice club. Table of those figures. Longest, really happy with that. I mean, I was swinging nearly, well, just under 110, you know, 108.5 miles per hour. You know, definitely if that wasn't into a headwind, that would have gone miles. So really pleased with that. Shortest, 228 carry, total distance 242, ball speed 148 miles per hour. You know, launch angle still good, height was still good, and swing speed was 103, so a little bit slower than average, but, you know, still not bad. It was a really bad hit and it went down the middle, so really happy with that. Dispersion overall was a little bit over the place, not as sort of tight as my QI35, but definitely something I could probably get used to and definitely dial in and make better. So overall, great club. So what can I say about the figures? You know, that is into a headwind. You know, I had quite a strong headwind into me. You know, I noticed when I was using my pitching wedge, my 7-iron, well, I wasn't actually getting any rollout with my 7-iron on the day, which is great. You know, perfect if I want to just worry about carry. But yeah, there was a headwind to still get a carry 239 yards, total distance of 254 yards. You know, ball speed 154 miles per hour on average from this club. You know, launch angle 11 degrees, happy with that. Maybe it'll need a little bit more. You know, I did have this set at 11 degrees, but perhaps if I had the heavier weight system, so 12 gram weight, it would have helped get up in a little bit more in the air. Height 78 feet, really happy with that. You know, and swing speed around the 105 mark on average. Really pleased with those figures, really impressive. You know, longest on the day was 267 total distance, 158 ball speed. You know, if I didn't have that wind in my face, that thing would have gone forever. Had a launch angle of 15 on it as well and peak height of 88. That thing would have just kept on going. That would have been a really good result. It could have been one of my longest drivers this year, to be honest. Really impressive. So there you go. However, as I mentioned, you know, well, I don't think I've mentioned it, but I'm going to mention it now. You know, my swing speed is going up. When I was testing a lot of these drivers like last year, I was only around that 98, just getting to 100 miles per hour mark. Now I'm definitely over it, sort of really getting around that sort of mid 105, sort of topping out 110. So yes, the results are really good if you compare it to my other videos and be like, oh, well, this thing's gone miles compared to, you know, the one you hit last year. It's because my swing speed has gone up. So do be aware of that. And that's why you need to listen to my ACS Golf Scale, because I'm putting these in the categories regarding where my swing is now. So going into the ACS Golf Scale, so remember, we got 5 categories. We've got distance, feel, looks, price and forgiveness. 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. So distance for me, 4 out of 5. That's exactly where I'd expect one of these core models to be. You know, anything above 4 out of 5 would really be the LS model. So 4.55 would be the LS models. Anything lower than that, you sort of maximum forgiveness one. So this is exactly where everything else is. My QI35 took it out on the day, tested that as well. Ball speed was the same, and distance was, I think, maybe 1-2 yards longer. You know, nothing in it at all. You know, everything else I've tested as well, this is right up there. So this Wilson Dynapwr Carbon driver is right up there with all the other drivers. You know, and I think if I had that 12 gram weight in here at the back, definitely think I would have helped with dispersion, because I lost a little bit of dispersion, to be honest, you know, because I would have had a bit more forgiveness. And if I put that 12 gram weight or even the 9 gram weight at the front, I would have got even more distance for low spin. So really happy with it, exactly where this club should be. 4 out of 5. If you're comparing this to any other of the core models this year, you won't be disappointed when it comes down to distance. This thing can definitely fight with all of them, which is great, which is exactly where I want Wilson to be. So really happy with that. Feel wise, 3.5 out of 5. It felt solid, it felt powerful, but it's not the nicest feeling driver I've felt this year. Even, you know, if we're going to older drivers and everything like that, for me, the best feeling ones are Cobra, Titleist. Not bad at all, sort of put maybe in a sort of Callaway feel personally for me. Still feels really nice. Sound of it is lovely, but not like sort of quite, it's a weird thing to say soft, but you know, I just felt a little bit harsh off the face compared to maybe some other drivers that I've tested this year. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5, nothing bad at all, really solid, but yeah, just didn't quite like the feel of it personally. Moving on to looks. So looks for me, 4.5 out of 5. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. The only reason I haven't given it more is I'm not quite a fan of glossy head covers, because you can see there, you can see my reflection. So glossy head covers, sorry, glossy tops there. Much for matte. When I'm looking down at the sun, especially in the UK when the sun is out, like it is today, I do find it quite off-putting to have that. So it's the only reason I haven't given it a 5 out of 5. It's just because of that reflection there. But overall, really clean looks. You know, it is really good. Not too sure, maybe the writing could be slightly improved on the bottom as well. But overall, a really good looking golf club. Definitely one of the best shaped heads of this year that I've tested, including old stuff and new stuff. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5. Forgiveness wise, haven't quite, core model I expect to be around 4 normally for me. Obviously put the weight at the front, then that forgiveness is going to drop. And I've given this a 3.5 out of 5. The dispersions weren't as tight as I necessarily want it. Yes, this could be the fact that I've got a lighter weight set up into it. So, you know, which actually might be help with me swinging a little bit faster. But maybe if I had the 12 gram there, probably increase it MOI a bit, but my dispersion was a little bit over the place. So I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. All of my reviews as well say, you know, all the reviews I've read as well say it is a forgiving driver, but it's not your max forgiving one. So I definitely think it's got enough forgiveness in there for your average golfer. 100%. I think anyone can pick this up and probably use it as long as it's set up the right way for you. But if you're looking for maximum forgiveness, don't say this is the one. I mean, that's the thing, like the QI35, you stick the back weight at the back of that and it's actually a 9k driver. Don't know what the MOI of this is, but I can't imagine it's that close to sort of 10k as the QI35. So 3.5 out of 5. Maybe on another day I would have given it a 4, but still roughly where I'd expect a core drive to be, so you're not losing any forgiveness for that. So yeah, not bad at all. You know, really generally happy with forgiveness. I mean, the shortest I did was 242 yards, you know, ball speed 148 miles per hour. Not really poor hit, a little bit of a drop off, but nothing that bad. So yeah, so 3.5 out of 5 for that. Now on to price. So price for me, when it comes down to drivers, when I'm looking at new clubs, you know, I generally give it 2.5. It is what it is. With this, to be honest, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Because it is a little bit cheaper than the other brands. Not a huge amount, but some of them around the £500 mark and plus. You know, this is $449, so it's a little bit cheaper. Over in the US, it's $550, so $550. So maybe close to other things, but so maybe could give it a 2.5, but I'm going to stick with a 3 because I do find it is going to be a little bit cheaper than the rest, to be fair. Just about a little bit cheaper. So yeah, and I think it's a really great driver, and it's definitely up there with all of them this year. It's definitely with them, and as the Wilson Dynapower range was, you know, a couple of years ago, it was definitely catching with them. Now this is definitely up there. So yeah, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5. Probably give it a couple of months, and they'll probably find exactly the same price, and instead of 2.5. But anyway, give me a 3 out of 5 for now. So there you go. There's the ACS Golf Scale for the Wilson Dynapower Carbon driver. Now, my overall thoughts about this club: it's a really, really good club. I love it. It is great. Am I going to put it in the bag? No, I'm going to stick with my QI35 just because I'm a little bit more consistent and it works a little bit more for me. But I think if you get this fitted, if you have the right gram weight setting in this, you know, probably for me could have done with that 12 gram weight in the back of it. And if maybe it's 10.5 degree head, then maybe I would have stuck it in there. But, you know, I loft my clubs up and it tends to close the face a little bit too much with the Wilson Dynapower Carbon, when it does the same with the TaylorMade, but it works quite well because I generally loft them up to about 12 degrees to help me get that ball up in the air. I mean, the way I've got the actual QI35 set up is 12.5 degrees and then the heaviest weight at the front. Keep that spin down, but to help with the launch. So, you know, if I had this 10.5 degree head, then maybe it would stay in the bag, but it is definitely a really good option, and I'm really happy that I got to try it for you guys for this channel. It is a great club. Definitely worth a go if you're looking for a new driver in 2025, or if you're watching this in a couple of years and you're looking at second-hand club. Have a look at this. All right, guys, now I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Wilson Dynapower Carbon driver from 2025. Do comment down below, you know, have you played Wilson drivers before? If you have, what are your thoughts about them? Obviously as well, do give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and as I mentioned before, do subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any of the other reviews that are going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks, and some versus videos as well. Alright guys, I'll see you soon for the next ACS golf review. See you then, bye bye.